Hello and welcome everyone to the webinar series Reimagine. This is a school leadership virtual webinar series where we invite school leaders and discuss on important agenda. So in fact, today we have a very important agenda to discuss among the principals and the school leaders from Noida, and we will decode the admission process along with the back to school agenda where we'll take the insightful experience of the educational leader and they will share how they are putting the best of the effort to bringing education back on a normal mode, because we all know that it was really hard. If we go back and look at last 23 months, school had to see a lot in a shift when we talk about academic delivery, to manage parents, to manage students, to manage teachers. Leaders played a vital role. And to discuss that topic, back to school, we have today eminent panelists with us. So without taking much of time, I would like to invite them. So I have Miss Meeta Bandula ma'am with us, right? Ma'am is principal with JP Public School, Greater Noida. Welcome, ma'am. We have Dr. Savita Chadda with us. Ma'am is principal with the Millennium School, Sector 119. Welcome, Dr. Savita.
Thank you, Ritesh.
So I would like to welcome Dr. Upma Arora. Ma'am is principal with JBM Global School, Noida. Welcome, ma'am. So I will just quickly brief to the audience that, what is about UniApply, and I'll give the brief introduction. So for the audience, I'm Ritesh Chawla and I represent UniApply. And UniApply is a school admission platform which is basically transforming and digitizing the school application and the admission process. And UniApply is basically a product of no paper form. And in fact, in today's discussion, we are going to talk about back to school, and we will, with the help of these principals and the leaders, we'll decode the admission process in Noida and Greater Noida, and we'll take their insightful experience, and they will share the feedback that how a parent can go for a school selection and what should be the criteria, right? So now, without taking much of time, I'll go back to the leaders and we'll start the session today. We have we have Purnima Divedi ma'am with us. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you. My first question is for Dr. Savita today, right? Ma'am, since you know that the topic of today is back to school, and back to school, when we are talking about it, it seems like a fresh topic, right? Because schools were closed for last 2 years, right? And when we talk about 2 years in the educational institution, which had a major shift, they went online, completely online. Then school were reopening and again they were closing down because of the several waves, because of the pollution issue, and there were certain guidelines from the Supreme Court with respect to the to curb pollution basically in NCR. So of course school had suffered a lot, right? So what do you think that back to school, how difficult is for parents, because they have to have that confidence when they are thinking of resending their little ones back to school, ma'am?
Thank you, Ritesh. And I would like to welcome all my fellow educationists on this panel and the parents who are there watching this. So coming to the point, couple of corrections required. There is no suffering of school, education, learning, learner, parents. This is life, and this is what we want our children to learn, emulate. And whenever any problem comes in life, there is a solution attached to it. Believe me, Ritesh, that when during COVID times or right now also, it's not fully done, right? And first of all, if I talk about the traits, because I'll definitely come to the question, because it is very, very important for the parents also to be on that positive mode, right? That's the reason I meant for that correction. There was no suffering. We are better than so many others, and
Right.
learning can never be stopped. The only thing was the so-called stereotype measures of learning and gauging them has modified, and this is how the human race evolved over a period of time. Now,
Right.
coming back to this question of bringing the children back to school. So, my humble submission to the forum as well as the audiences that first of all, we have to be very positive. We have to put this thing as parents, as educationists, as people associated from the field of education, that guys, you have not missed out in life. Rather, you are the ones who have been chosen by destiny for this crucial time. So
Right.
be positive. Now, coming to this point of bringing them back, yes, because what happens, we all know the kind of socio emotional setbacks each one of us as adults also have, and as kids, like I have no words to express that. But what has been observed over a period of time, that earlier this child was there with us for, let's say, 6 hours a day out of 24 hours,
Right.
right? And when many a times parent used to say this is the wrong thing this child has got, at home we are taking care. So many a times the teachers have a very standard and stereotype answer, so the child is there with us only for 6 hours in a day, right? 18
Right.
hours he's spending with you. But now even that equation was the other way around. So that's the reason I started my conversation that first of all, the sole and major responsibility lies at the shoulders of parents,
Right.
right? Now, coming to the second important part of bringing them back to school. So the parent has to be very, very positive and optimistic, because with the kind of experience I have serving in different brands and over a different spread of set of people. So if I talk in specific to Noida and Greater Noida,
Right.
so what I felt like, if you look at the clientele, they are very young as compared to any other places. Like its average is around 35 to 45 or maybe 50, right?
Right.
So what is most important for us, and with the kind of number of kids we have at home, one or two, they are overprotective, like it's very, if you study the graph, if you go ahead of Greater Noida towards, other part of the city, Uttar Pradesh, in tier 2 cities and all, their
Right.
parents are still ready to send the kids to school. But in this particular area, they're very skeptical till date. And I completely agree that whatever concerns they are having, it's not just on the sake of it, but my humble submission to them is, please, this is high time now, because we have to be very, very honest. And this is going to be kind of, a dent in the learning here and there, as compared to not only the learning outcomes, but if the overall growth in terms of your social and emotional factors are also concerned. So when
Right.
the kids can go to parties, when the kids can attend weddings, when there can be kitties and get-togethers, right? So we have to be honest to send them to school for a couple of hours. And I hope, like, with the kind of schools and the brands which are prevailing in this belt, none of the head of the institutions will have those kind of apprehensions. You are free to walk and see the kind of arrangements,
Right.
because we fully are not going to compromise on the safety and security of the kids, because that is our top priority. I think I have answered that first major ingredient of bringing them back to school is the positive attitude, both from the school side to understand that we have to welcome them back. There are children, and that too with the gap. So there will be some serious concerns. You will find that their writing skills are badly impacted. Their
Right.
presentation skills are badly impacted, because everything was on a virtual platform. If you
Right.
earlier they were in a habit of submitting the notebooks which are being corrected, and the teachers were doing everything on almost once or twice a weekly basis. Now
Right.
somebody has said the PDF, somebody has got some or the other problem with the technical glitches. So we have to forego lot many things. We have to overdo
Sure.
lot.
It was a major shift on the both end, of course, for the teachers also when it comes to academic delivery, and for those who are learning, right? For them, going overnight to the classes, parent had to see a lot, because if there are two kids and both the parents are working, they have to have the four number of gadgets, right? To ensuring their education. So we will in fact discuss the more aspect with respect to this topic. Thank you, Savita ma'am, for quickly giving your view. I'll go back now. I'll go to Meeta ma'am. And ma'am, I have a very specific question. Like now, schools are operational in a physical and a virtual form, right? Because it's a hybrid mode, right? So it is
Yeah.
difficult, of course. And I have an extended question. When we talk about the physical school are starting, and now you are calling upon the kids to the campuses. So that is not really easy, because you have to ensure everything in a working tandem, right from the classroom to the library, playing area, washroom, and so many other things which school has as an infrastructure, right? Because 2 years was a long period, right? And now everything has to be back on track, because everything needs maintenance, right? So how you are tackling with those issues? So there are two questions, like operational, hybrid, and this working tandem. So over to you, ma'am.
See, I feel that planning and like micro planning and execution makes everything possible. When the pandemic started, we were not prepared for the virtual teaching, but we did it overnight. Within a week, we trained our staff and we conducted it very successfully. The same situation is now, and we are. I think we are very well conversant with our previous setup, okay, the physical setup. So we are planning and we are doing micro planning to see that everything is in place. And when kids return to school, okay, they have a very safe and secure environment. uh, as far as COVID protocols have to be followed, we are also prepared for that, like sanitizing machines, and the complete campus needs to be well prepared, the infirmary, the sanitizing machines and all. And so I think every school is in the planning phase right now, and we are not having any apprehensions. And every school is, I think, can prepare and must be preparing 150% without leaving any stone unturned
Right.
to welcome the kids back to school. And as I always say that, see, in India, we are in a habit of, see, going with a wave. Okay. So people were very scared of the COVID, and that precipitated down the line. Okay. That fear precipitated down the line. But if you think in a very logical manner, that if you are taking precautions, there is nothing to worry about. Okay. If you, like, we are going to keep sanitizers in classes. We are going to ensure that every child is like thermally scanned when they come to school. The buses are sanitized, the classrooms are sanitized. So there is, I think, if we are planned and if we uh, generate awareness amongst parents and students when they are back to school, nothing to worry about. We can again resume everything normally.
Right. So in fact, we also want to give that confidence through Meeta ma'am, that parents don't need to be much worry about, because schools are really concerned about the safety of the student. They should,
Yeah,
be
that
in
is our utmost priority.
right, right. So before going to Purnima ma'am, I'll quickly raise a question to Upma ma'am, and it's a very specific question, Dr. Upma, that that now bringing back student to school, of course there may be certain unique challenges with respect to every segment when we talk about primary, pre-primary, or let's say the middle school, or let's say the senior secondary school. Of course there may be kids on a primary section, they must be excited to come to school, right? They would want to see the campus. But those who are in a comfort zone of studying, there is no examination, and on the online examination, we all know, right? So what are some unique challenges to bring them back to school when we talk about segment wise, or let's say the section wise, the middle section or the primary or the senior secondary? So ma'am, you have to unmute.
I must tell you my greetings to all the parents and my fellow principals. Uh, JBM Global School, we have ample of activities. We just had 2 Saturdays, we were having sports day, and the attendance was 100%.
Wow.
So that was a great part. And sports is one thing, and the activities are one thing that will fetch them out from their comfort zone, and nobody is going to say no to them. So it was a great success. We had a good time, and the children were bubbling with joy, and they were amazed, and it was a great thing. So if challenges on every step,
Right.
even if you step out of your house, there's always a challenge. So schools have shown, and that they can do anything to a great extent.
Right.
So I remember 23rd March, 21st March, when our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, announced the lockdown, and 23rd March we were ready with the online classes.
Right.
So that was 11th and 12th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they were all having their online school. So we had created a parallel school at home. So it is hardly any difficulty we find to call them to the school. We know how to go about.
Right. Right. So
So
in fact,
we play as Pied Pipers, we know how to call them, how to attract them, so they will come usually, and we will not find any challenge there.
right. So this may vary school to school. So I will quickly take the view of Purnima ma'am. Purnima ma'am has joined us a bit later than everyone. So there was some technical glitch. So Purnima ma'am is the head of school with Queen's Carmel School, Greater Noida. So I would like to welcome once again, ma'am, and to know quick view of on this question, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ritesh, to having given me this opportunity to be a part of this esteemed panel. And thank you to all the speakers who have spoken prior to me. And your information, your knowledge really has paved a long way in creating the atmosphere in your respective schools about which you have already spoken about. So from my side, I would just like to say this pandemic was a huge thing for the humanity. And with this coming up, suddenly we were all caught unawares.
Right.
But we say that if we can't do great things, we should always try to do small things with great hope,
Right.
resilience, love, care, happiness, or whatever we can give from our side. It has been a lot of trying time for humanity, for everyone across, and nobody has seen at such an unprecedented scale the crisis on human being as such. We from our side also had taken all preemptive measures at the time of lockdown, kept the communication line open with
Right.
our parents, with our children. We call them queens here. It's all exclusively all girls school, and girls, they get disturbed more easily than anybody else. So we had to build up that morale for them, that confidence, so that they don't go into their shell. And you won't believe, Ritesh, we were still working offline. We gave that option because we didn't want our queens to lose out the confidence. The moment the lockdown was opened up, we welcomed them with open arms. And you should see that smile, that happiness on their faces that
Right.
probably had erased the disease, the sufferings which everybody, because I feel children at this age has also seen loss of their close loved ones.
Right.
So they had to be brought out of this and mentally be prepared. And not only that, for a long period of time, I think they were too close to the families, that
Right.
togetherness for so many months. Now you had to unwind that. You had to wean them away from their parents, safety net.
Right.
And not only the children probably they adapt and learn very quickly, to the given circumstances. It is the challenge for the adults, for the parents,
Right.
to see to it that if they're sending their child, will the child be safe? Is the school going to follow all the protocols? All these questions, that anxiety, the stress, and which the parent have, unfortunately, it gets transmitted to few children, not all. Some are really blessed to be still having their natural, intensity intact. So it was challenging for everyone, like who have faced there, and we also equally face that.
Right.
But by the grace of God, and things have smoothened out. And now, when children have started coming to school, they don't want to go back home. They say, we want to stay here, we don't want to go back, and parents now insisting, ma'am, can we extend the hours in the school? Probably they want to compensate for the time that has been lost out already. And we are always open for that. As long as they want to be in the school, we are there for them. We give them whatever they want to learn. We give them a free hand, wings to fly, because all along they had been inside the closed walls. And
Right.
trying to communicate with them through online classes also did not help much with few of them who shied away from the camera initially. But
Right.
as soon as they started coming, they opened up, like blossoming into beautiful flowers, and started flying and started experiencing the life in its natural way as it should be. So we are happy that things are coming to normalcy now, and we hope that this thing continues. And we are also taking all the necessary precautions at our end to ensure the safety of our children. Thank you
Right.
so much.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. In fact, with your view and view of Dr. Upma, ma'am, we can really say that school are putting their best to bring back the student to the campus, right? And to some extent, you have also answered one of my next question where I wanted to ask, what the parent should, do with respect to the efforts from their end to make the
Absolutely.
transition easier.
Yes,
And
Ritesh, that's what I point out. Sorry to intervene, because this is what I feel. It's the parent who have to now learn to the new normal rather
right,
than the children. Children adapt very quickly to any circumstances they are thrown at. It's their inbuilt quality. It is the parents who have to learn to get away from that anxiety, that stress level, and make children feel normal attending the schools.
right. So I'll quickly take that view from Dr. Savita. So, ma'am, what is your say that how, like what ma'am said, in additionally, if you want to add on something, that how parent can make this transition easier, right? Because of course, 2 years is a long time. Like ma'am rightly said, they have to unwind. There isn't a safety net of their parents, and they got really close to their families, spending. Uh, let's say if they are spending 6 hours to school, now they are spending complete 24 hours with the family. So now, what parent can do with respect to go back to the previous schedule and sending their kids back to the school?
Ritesh, I would like to completely agree with what Ma'am Purnima and Upma ma'am and Meeta ma'am have been sharing. Here, I would like to share a couple of the situations and the real life experiences which we had in our school. So,
Right,
frankly speaking, it's not that in last couple of months, even last year, way back in 2020. January, 13th January, I still remember I had my kindergarten children in school. And if you will go on our school website and Insta and all that, Facebook and other places, so the Lori bonfire was being done by one of my kindergarten girls,
right,
because see, it's all the question of faith. See, ma'am is rightly saying that now it's the time for the parents to acclimatize to the new normal, because kids have been blessed with that particular quality, and that is what I was pointing at, that the concern is the number of siblings or number of kids at home also, right? In the present scenario. That too, when we are living, most of us are in nuclear families. If you look at the clientele, they are most of them are migrated from, the native places to this so-called Delhi NCR area. So now coming to that, the answer to each and every question boils down to the faith. You are
right,
going to and the trust, and that is something very, very important. Like few of the measures, when I said way back in January 2020 also, the kindergarten kids were there in my school. If you see, maybe 5 months beforehand, we had an inauguration of herbal garden. And if you see those video clippings, so again my KG and class 1 graders were there to cut the ribbon of that herbal garden. And so what I'm trying to say, that kids are coming to school, and that too in good numbers.
right,
So how we were able to get them to school for different activities and for regular classes, that the only thing was that we had first good amount of discussion with the parents, because we wanted to know what are their doubts and the queries, and they're very
exactly,
right from their point of view. And then giving them the liberty. For example, when my kindergarten parents were coming and talking to me, so I just told them, I took them on a round, right? Then we were sharing each and every detailed this thing, whether the staff is fully vaccinated, what are the kind of protocols which we are following, how the COVID protocols are being followed, how the school has a history, like me being a city coordinator for conducting of JE exam for Noida City, right? So for 5,000 children also, I ensured that, each and every protocol is being followed. So
Right.
that also gives an extra, confidence to the parents that fine, school is taking each and every precautions. And above all, they were also given the liberty to attend the classes along with the kids. Like they were being made to sit at cafeteria or at the reception area if they want. In between, they can go and check the things, washrooms and everything. So when you are so open and transparent, so half of your battle is won, because that is the thing which parents are actually looking for. And similarly for some kind of, if you talk in terms of celebrations, whether it is Basant Panchami, so kids were all there, whether it is any kind of participation. Recently our school was, one was declared one of the best in the entire district for conducting of elections. Generally, in a private school, when you get these kind of duties, people will not look at in that from that point of view, right? But we always believe at the Millennium School, Sector 119 Noida, that each and every opportunity should be in sync of becoming leaders. And that's what we talk:
Right.
lead, inspire, and innovate. So we did lots of innovation even for the Election Commission of India, that their bureaucrats were here in the school to study that how even a polling center can be converted into a super model polling center and give a vision. And the videos which are being created were used the very next day as educational tools in the classes, right? So what I'm trying to say, it's a blend of everything. See, we are all master chefs, right? Now, what kind of ingredients, how much quantity you are going to put, and as far as getting the confidence of the parents back into the educational institute, I believe transparency, involvement of these stakeholders in the micro planning of your execution of plans, and besides, above everything is the little ones. Just welcome them with open arms, because as ma'am rightly said, once they are in school, they don't want to go back to home till the time the moms are there with the mask and like, no, it's corona time and you have to go home. So that is something very, very important. Involve the stakeholders to the maximum possible, and I think that will resolve a lot of issues. Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure schools, by this, I can actually analyze that schools are putting their best of the effort to bring back the audience and motivating parents, right? Especially like Upma ma'am also mentioned, you also mentioned that various activity and making them as a major stakeholder and making them realize that how important it is. With this, in the middle of the conversation, you mentioned, Savita ma'am, that a lot of parents, they come from, the several areas to this so-called Delhi NCR cities. So in fact, on this, I would like to ask Meeta ma'am a question. Ma'am, we all know that these cities are newly built cities, right? When we talk about Delhi, of course, the people who belongs to particularly to Delhi, they are staying, and it is probably easier for them to now schools are open and they can send their kids back to school. But during this tenure of last 2 years, parents would have faced certain situation. It could be a job loss, it could be a work from home situation, it could be certain the financial constraint, there may be a pay cut, right? Because of that they must have moved back to their native places, right, to just to cut down on the expenses in the city, or let's say a town, or cities like Noida, Greater Noida. So it must be a challenging situation for those parents to now come back to the city and send their kids back to school, of course. So one, for such parents, do you still operating in a mode where they can attend, their kids can attend online school is one. And second, what is your piece of advice to those parents? Are you, advising them to come back on, and how this arrangement is going to be, if you can help us to understand?
Yeah, Ritesh, in this context, I would like to say that, see, in today's world of digitization, see, geographical barriers like doesn't matter, okay? And I understand that due to their personal constraints or professional constraints, some parents have moved to other cities. But we are making provisions to get our children back to school, whether in online mode or in offline mode. Okay, and we will be making special arrangements for them so that their education is not hampered in any way. Okay,
Right.
due to the constraints of their parents, children don't suffer. So
Right.
what we are doing is we are planning to have separate offline sections
Mhm.
and online sections. So the children who will be able to attend school, they will be coming to school campus. They will be learning, enjoying different experiential activities. But yes, the kids who are stuck up at their hometown due to some reason, they will be able to attend classes in the online mode as well.
Right.
So at JP, we are making this provision, and we have done it earlier also. When the schools reopened, then this problem was there with some parents, but we addressed it beautifully. And I believe in the philosophy that no child should be left behind. Okay,
Right. Right.
education, disseminating education or imparting education is our responsibility, and we are going to fulfill it, uh, come what may.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so I think most of the schools, no school is going to left their children to leave their children because of some of their personal problems. We are going to welcome them in every possible way. And here it is like just want to mention that we have a special education wing in our school.
Right.
Okay, where children with learning disabilities, with some physical disabilities, are also studying. We have a Prerna wing, okay, separate wing for them. And during this time, these children were facing a lot of problems because they were not habitual of attending classes on screen. Okay, they were not able to adapt to that situation. So we opened school for them. The occupational therapy center and the speech therapy center all were open for them, and specifically our some of the teachers and support staff were coming to ensure that their education is not hampered.
Right. Right.
Okay, so this way my staff has set an example of dedication. They went beyond the call of their duty to help these children. And again, as the situation will be, I think every school is going to do it, because we feel that, see, education is not just transaction of curriculum. Okay,
Right.
education means that we have to prepare them for life,
Right.
and we are not going to uh, like uh, uh, refrain ourselves from doing anything which uh, due to which our children suffer.
Right.
So that's the thing. We are going to conduct hybrid classes as well, and we are going to ensure that children study in
Right.
this.
Thank you, Meeta ma'am. In fact, I want a quick, view of Dr. Upma, but Savita ma'am raised hand and she was curious to add something. So I would request ma'am to quickly add before I get.
Yeah, yeah, because ma'am, that's a lovely idea to have hybrid mode because parents are stuck up at their native place and it is difficult for them. But my only query to this particular mode of teaching was that because I've been associated with lot many core constitutional teams of CBSE, when I talk of in terms of learning outcomes, frankly speaking, all of us are aware of the fact that why CBSE has to modify this criteria of so-called options also A, B, C, D, and whatever X, Y, Z things were going on, and why finally the controller of examination has come up with the statement that 10th and 12th, whatever situation it may, so it has to be offline mode, right? Now supposing if it, let's presume, because see, whenever we are talking of giving a solution, we also have to see to it that learning outcomes are being met. So when a child is appearing, for example, because this, why I raised the hand, I'm facing this problem in reality also, because I'm one of the first ones to go for offline exams, right, from classes 6 to 10th, right? Ninth and 10th, I was able to, and 11th, 12th, like I'm able to convince the parents. 6th to 8th, when I have to go by the consensus, because I have been in direct touch with the administration also and Department of Education people. We can't force anyone for that. But the minute you give them a leverage of, let's say, out of 25 students, 13 are coming for offline and remaining 12 are going for online. So somehow with the kind of assessment and the software and the checking of the things happening in online mode is not as efficient as it is happening in offline mode.
Right.
Now,
In
if
fact,
in a
with
class,
this, I sorry to interject in between. In fact, if you speak about the recent petition which was filed in the Supreme Court where a section of student, they wanted exam to happen online, and whereas Supreme Court said that this
was
cannot
rejected,
be a
yes.
substitute, right? It was an option where when they had no choice. Now you have choice, things are getting back to normal, you can't take this for granted, right?
Right.
We
No,
can
I
just
was
take
speaking
2 minutes to.
about I was talking about exceptions, genuine exceptions.
Then it is different. Yeah.
Yeah, it is like for example, a child is having learning disability. The child is suffering from cerebral palsy also. Like we have
That
such
is
cases in our school. So for them, we have to open the online mode also. So I was talking about such exceptions only. Otherwise, majorly, like as other schools, we will be working in the offline mode only.
Right, of course, that is going to be the future and a normal tandem and the normal way of working. So, Upma ma'am, your quick view on this question, like I just raised with the ma'am that parents who are staying in their native places, hometown, and now they are looking back. Schools are in fact calling their kids back to school. So, how you are dealing with such issue?
Schools have to take a firm action that it is only and only offline when everything has come back to normal. Your gyms are on, your swimming pools are on, your cinema houses are on. So why not the school? Why parties are happening? Why malls are on? So children and the parent are going there. Why do they not come to school? So things have to come to normal. Even in COVID situation, chartered accountant exams, IIT exams, they were all on offline mode only. So schools somewhere have to take a firm action, no hybrid mode, even if the attendance, we have to shut down the attendance. Today was the first exam in the school and 100% attendance for class 9 to 12. How come? If we had given the option to them, minded 30% students or 20% would have come to school, rest of them would have taken it on a comfort zone, and they would have sat home and doing all malpractices. So it is the schools who have to take an action. It's been 2 years that the learning outcomes are gone to zero. I don't know what is going to happen to the education system. So though we were very good with the learning, like virtual learning, but somehow learning outcomes were not taken care of.
Or there is no match between when
There's no match
it is
between.
more. Just to interject, ma'am, I'm sorry. Of course, it is not only about the education which is going to kids, but of course they are meeting to their peer, and there's a lot of learning because they are living in the home with a different set of age, people. And now if they are coming, they're enjoying and spending time with their peer group, and of course this will add more learning than academics, right?
Yeah, informal learnings also do happen when they interact. They come to school. There are a lot of activities, physical activities do happen. A lot of learning scopes are there. So that cannot match at all with virtual. Though we were very fabulous, we did a fantastic job by having parallel school, like online classes, but it cannot match offline. We have to be firm, no parallel, no hybrid mode from April onwards.
So Upma ma'am has a very strong say no to hybrid classes. And Purnima, I could actually sense, there is something in the mind of Purnima ma'am. So ma'am, you quickly share before I come up with my next question, please, ma'am.
I'll just in short, very short, because most of my esteemed panelists have already given their views, and Dr. Upma has strong sentiments and about the offline and the online classes. I feel, it's a normal human tendency to become complacent the way, the moment they get a choice, be it anyone, be it adults or children, we try to take the easy route and see to it that things are not burdened up. We are not to fall into a routine, not to get up early in the morning for mothers who have to cook the tiffin for their children. There is a case in mind, and because they have a small baby now, with a small baby, mother has no time because they can't keep the caretaker or any help in these pandemic times. So this was a real excuse from the parents. But again, we have to understand it's a human psychology, which plays a very important role here. as educationists, I know the thumb rule is now that everything is open, we have to bring everybody on board and everyone has to attend offline classes. But there has to be some human angle here. I'm sorry, Dr. Upma, I know your case was absolutely on the right track. But my views are there are certain families still who are coping up with a lot of losses in terms of their near and dear ones, in terms of the monetary crisis, in terms of placement, there are any number of crises. I think we have to have a broader outlook. We have to take each case at its merit and ensure that in the process, our children's learning is not stopped. They have already gone through a lot of upheaval, be it physical, be it emotional, be it social. Like they have been through this crisis in their very important, crucial year of development. So
Right.
we need to ensure that our children do not suffer because of something which is keeping them from coming to the school because of some urgency or crisis at home. So we have to take each case at its own merit and see to it that my child at the end of the day, whether it is offline or online, is able to learn and get the rightful education which he or she deserves. These are my words. And one more thing I would just like to add, these are challenging times and we have to ensure that each challenge brings opportunity along.
Right.
Opportunity knocks at everyone's door, but often the inmate is fast asleep. So we cannot let our people, our children, our society, our parents go to the sleep mode and do not wake up to the call of what is required today. Their education of the children should be at the uppermost in their mind, and they have to somehow compromise and learn from what we have experienced and do not take life so easily. Thank you so
In
much.
fact, thank you, Purnima ma'am, for giving your
Yeah.
quick view. Before
I want to just add
yeah,
a
I will add one line before you start, ma'am. I would, in fact, quote the say of Meeta ma'am. She said that exception will exist in this ecosystem, whereas we have to see the genuinity of the case and then to add such cases in the hybrid section. Otherwise, Upma ma'am rightly said that, okay, when everything is happening, why not education? So, of course, making it at a parity, like, of course, you are catering to the genuinity also, and of course you are giving a strong message also that when everything is happening, why can't school, physical school, can't happen. So Meeta ma'am, quick view.
Yeah, I just wanted to second the opinion of Madam Divedi that yes, see, there has to be a human angle in everything. Okay, we are dealing with lives, as Savita ma'am also started with her note, that we are dealing with souls, we are nurturing souls.
Right.
Okay, if there are certain students who are confined to their home because of certain unavoidable circumstances, and for example, like in my school, we have some cases, we have some children who have lost their father in this COVID situation. The mother has like migrated to some other city, okay, to their hometown. They have migrated to their hometown, but yes, mother is again and again requesting school that kindly allow my kids to study in your school. Okay, please help us because I had to migrate here because of my personal circumstances, so kindly consider.
Right.
Okay, now I can't throw those children out of my school just by saying that, okay, no, we have to, one rule will be followed and no consideration will be shown. So at times we have to deal with certain cases subjectively. This was my thought. Otherwise, see, parents themselves are very keen to send their children to school.
Absolutely.
They have actually experienced that, yes, in school they learn a lot of life skills also. They through different activities, their social and emotional competencies are also developed, which were missing in this time. Okay,
Right.
they themselves are keen to send their wards to school, but exceptions are there and we have to
I have
address.
Just add
I
one
have
more.
a point, Neeta ma'am, if you can excuse me. I have a point here my 3 children were there in Afghanistan. They had to appear in board examination. When I called the RO CBSE, he said, I do not have a center there. The children have to skip it. They will not write the exam. So I was numb. There was no sensitivity in CBSE. They could not have that. So they had to miss the exam. And from this desk where we are sitting at a responsible position, when we largely say or publicly say that there can be a hybrid mode. So my point is that there are exceptions, we deal with them.
Right.
We deal with them. There would be 1 or 2 genuine cases, but in the name of those genuine cases, if we announce it publicly or if we announce it from a forum of this type, so there would be a chance that many people will come that, yes, I do not, as said by Purnima ma'am too, that I have a small child, I can't make him ready or this, that. So there would be 100 excuses will rise. So we,
So in fact, being a moderator,
I said,
we
we
have to
need
have
to
a,
take each case on its merit.
yes, yes.
You know, we cannot, yeah.
So in fact, I will.
that is what I want to say. In this case, that those cases should be dealt alone.
Absolutely.
And to a separate corner.
I endorse.
On this forum of when we are dealing with public and our voice is reaching to masses, so
Right.
there we should not have public announcements that we can have hybrid mode. Then we can be, my dear ma'am, we can be mistaken that there is an option. So why not use this option? Let me go and have chuttis at Nani place, and I'm at Nani place and my mom is there. So this is what the some of the parents.
In fact, being a moderator,
You have to apply
I will bring
discretion,
something
very
here.
strong discretion here.
Yeah.
And yes, we cannot buy anything which is served to us. So
Right.
we need to apply a lot of discretion.
Right. In fact, I will here I have a say that in fact we look at last 2 years. I think school had been a lot of they were in a consideration mode. School had to waive off fees, the fees of lot many kids, and they were sympathetic and empathetic with lot of families. Most of the private schools, right, where school in fact they pool the money and help the family to do a lot of things, and schools were really doing a lot. So I think we are all are on the same page that okay, we need to bring back this to the normal thing. And of course we need to make a situation where people should not take an undue advantage of this entire situation just in the name of hybrid. Right. So ma'am rightly said that people are sitting at Nani's place and saying, okay, we can't come back to city and can't attend the class. That cannot be the case. So I think we are on the consensus, but we have a paucity of time and I don't want to miss on a very important question. And it is a turn of Purnima ma'am. So ma'am, in last 2 years, in fact, I have addressed a lot of webinars, and in fact, as UniApply, we have reached out to the masses. Right. And of course, you have also come, being leaders of the school, you have come across a lot of situation where parents must be considering that okay, since it is only the question about foundation class, why to send kid to a nursery class? Let's skip this year and send them next year, because what school are going to teach is it about ABCD, right? But okay, now things are coming back to normal, so they may plan to admit their child. But here is one very important case, that they might think that there had been a lot of not lot of, at least 3 waves, right? First, second, and third. Now, if this may prolong for more time, so should we skip the nursery and should we, wait for pandemic to end? So what is your say and piece of advice? Very briefly, we have very short.
Just 2 sentences, maybe 2 to 3, Ritesh. I would not like to take much time. Everything depends on the merit of the child. A parent is the best judge. Since the child was with the parent these 2 years or few months, whatever you may say, so parent understand where my child stands. And if the parent feels, and when we are also taking the admission, we screen. For the junior classes, we just take oral and try to get some idea about where the child stands as per the syllabus is concerned for that particular grade. And if we find fit, the child can be promoted without even having going to the school for the previous years. So it all depends on the merit of the child, the knowledge for which the child is able to get at home while under the care of their parents. And if the parents feel that the child is now adapted and suited to go to the next higher class, I will never say no to that child. Yes, for higher classes, we will do screening. Proper tests would be conducted to ensure that we are not doing any injustice to the child. If the child attempts it properly, he would be granted to go to the next higher class. So that is what my take on this is. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Purnima ma'am. Dr. Upma, your quick piece of advice for the parent who are still thinking that it may prolong and we should skip the foundation class. What is your say, ma'am?
See, as rightly said by Purnima ma'am, it all depends on the know-how of the child which is coming to nursery or LKG or UKG. See, we also face this problem since the parents were saying that my child, this child has done nursery, he knows ABCD, A to Z, he knows it, and put him in KG. So for that purpose, we took help of NEP, and that was LKG. The concept of LKG we introduced this year for those who had not done proper schooling, not formal schooling, they had homeschooling, and they were not up to the mark to go to UKG or KG. So for them, that LKG concept, which is to be there from 2023, so we introduced that in our school, and that was LKG for those who had not done schooling, who were not knowing much that is required to go in KG. So that was created, and on the request of the parents only we created that section, and that was a wonderful idea, so that a child should know proper knowledge he should have before he goes to KG, kindergarten.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Now, since we are left with only 5 minutes and we had to wind it up with my last question and conclusion also, I have to conclude this session. My question is for Meeta ma'am, right? Meeta ma'am, you know that UniApply is also helping parents if they are we have helped a lot of parents to discover, explore, and apply to the school, right? So it comes to application and admission. But of course, parents are curious to even, when they have to make a final decision, right? They're really confused because now the choices are there. So what should be and it's a very generic question, and I would want to, whether I have to extend for another 5 minutes, I will take a quick feedback of each one of you, because this is a very subjective question, that what should be the parameter for a parent to decide for a school, right? So on UniApply, we have a certain format on which parent can come, they can compare school, they can see everything. But of course, it's a very subjective, it varies from a person to person, human to human. So Meeta ma'am, you can start, and then I will go to each one of the speaker today.
Yeah, thank you, Ritesh. I feel that today's parents are very well-informed parents, and there are various sources from which they can know about a school, and they also know their perception of education and what they want for their child. Okay, so it is not at all difficult for them and to shortlist certain schools for their kid. It depends upon what they are looking for in a school, and at times it depends on other factors also. The school which is near to their house, the school which is like some parents pay more emphasis on academic CBSE results. Some feel that yes, if a school has sports infrastructure, good sports infrastructure. So there are many good sources available for parents to know about a school and decide that in which school they want their child to be.
Right.
So they can always take a very informed decision nowadays.
Right. So Dr. Savita, now your quick view that what should be the parameter and a parent should have in their books, a 5-pointer or let's say a 2-pointer before taking a final decision.
My point of advice will be, as Mamita has rightly said, they're very well-informed parent. And I also quoted the number of kids nowadays nuclear families are having, right? So for them, this is something very, very serious. It's not like only the so-called schooling, passing 10th, 12th, and getting into some colleges. It has gone much more beyond that. People, and especially in the pandemic, the way we were facing things, they have also come to realize that how important instilling of correct value system and learning for life concept has got lot many things to do only as to refrain themselves to so-called CBSE curriculum or selection in IITs or JEE. So my this thing to the parents will be that besides with whatever R&D you want to do from resources, from websites, please visit the school, because this is a place where your child is going to be there for next 12 years,
Right.
and the child will be transformed from a so-called I'll say like a kindergarten child to the man who's going to face the world and face the life. Because what happens, whatever may be your social media, whatever maybe your Google reviews, whatever may be your inputs from your friends, family, and people around, the minute you enter any educational institutions, the vibes, how the guard on the gate, how the gardener, how the so-called helping staff, how the faculties, how the principal is being interacting, because that is something which can't be crushed on a virtual platform. So
Right.
do spare little time. You can shortlist them as 1, 2, and 3, and then take a final call.
So according to Dr. Savita, it's a connect basically, which you can only form when you visit a school. And with the piece of advice which Meeta ma'am said, okay, distance is also one of the important criteria. So quickly, Purnima ma'am, and then I will go to Upma ma'am.
Thank you, Ritesh, so much. As I have said in the beginning, Queen's Carmel School is exclusively all girls school.
Right.
And we believe in nurturing our queens. And, we also give them a platform where they can be themselves, and, they can exert themselves openly without any inhibitions, and be more resilient, be more confident, be more open. We, in fact, give them those wings which probably they might shy away if they are in a poet school. So this school provides them that a right platform to put forth the right foot forward, where they could exert themselves and be more successful. As I would just quote an African proverb, it said that you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a society and a nation. So we want our girls to be flying high with their wings, and to also erase out this inequality in our society, that gender-based society. They get equal opportunity when at the time when they require to develop that needed confidence, we are providing that platform to our queens. So that's my take for my queens here.
Thank you, Purnima ma'am, for beautifully putting this across to the audience. Dr. Upma, a quick view.
The parents are very smart these days. Parents look for the quality of education. The parents look for the academics. The parents look for the activities. The parents look for homely touch, the care and connect. So these are certain qualities that a parent is looking for the child, where he is sending, where the child is becoming responsible, where the child is becoming independent and a smart having good communication skills. So these are certain things where what a parent looks for, and that all we try and we all inherit that.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Upma, for putting this across to our viewers. And now I would like to conclude this session. Maybe the say is different, but one thing is for sure, that all the leaders are chasing a common goal of meeting the objective of education in the society, uplifting and upskilling students, so that tomorrow when they go out of school, they can stand, be a better person, and face the actual challenges in the life, and take the legacy when they go out from the school. So thank you so much, each one of you, for sparing time and sharing your views and insightful experience. And I wish you a lot of success this year, and we pray for a healthy year, so that things can be really back to normal, everything, right from businesses to school. And you keep doing your great work, and shining the kids which are coming to you with the hope of for a better future, right? Thank you so much, each one of you, and we'll see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.